Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the man who loves opposing forces and meditation, KC Onyebuchi, and the man whose Street Fighter II performance has earned him the title of Hollaback Girl, John Keys.
That's just so inappropriate.
I don't even know where we got this stuff from.
The haterification is real on this, podcast, man.
Joining us this week is our host, Ryan Teletubby Smith. Great to have you guys on today.
Hey, listen, the one thing about all of the technical difficulties we had to fight through this week and last week, and technically the week before too, is the fact that I got to reuse my original intro after you guys had forgotten that I had done it. So therefore, I got it on wax. It's done. Gotcha.
I can support that. Gotcha.
All right, here we go. The UFC traveled to Brazil for a battle of native-born fighters to set the year off right. Jose Aldo, the king of Brazil, was back in action against a rising star looking to make his name off the former champion, and the main event, Marlon Moraes, finally got his rematch against Raphael Assuncao, who won their first fight by split decision. But before we get into that fight, let's check the results of all the action with the official decision. The official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we look at the fights that were on the week prior. This is UFC on ESPN Plus 2, Assuncao versus Moraes 2. This was Saturday, February 2nd, 2019 at the Northeast Olympic Training Center in Fortaleza, Brazil. This was a great fight.
Brazil. The whole card was absolutely amazing. This ESPN Plus thing has been rock solid from the jump.
I agree. These are the fights that we've really been waiting for. This is the caliber of the fights that we've been waiting for. So, kudos.
All right, let's go through the results. Levinha Souza defeated Sarah Frota via split decision. Johnny Walker defeated Justin Ledet via knockout in round 1 with a spinning back fist.
It was all right.
Man, that was a finish him type maneuver that he did. Okay, and it was brutal. I mean, Johnny Walker came in there on a tear. I see nothing but good things in this guy's future. We may be talking gold contention before end of the year.
Overrated.
All I got to say is this: if MMA doesn't work out, he can definitely try out the B-boy circuits.
Nah, that worm was
trash.
Worm was not trash for a guy his size, man. That was like an anaconda whip. Okay,
there you go.
I mean, it was just bad. It was huge for a guy that size, man. Come on, rise up off of him.
Yeah, that's right. Talk about me a hater. You a hater. All right,
shake the haters off.
Charles Dubronx Oliveira defeated David Tamer via submission in round 2. Damian Maia, the most dangerous welterweight in the world, defeated Lyman Good via submission in round
For those
number
who
1.
missed it, everybody knows Damian is not the most dangerous.
That's right. He's not dangerous. He's dangerous.
But Ryan has called him that on many occasions that has resulted in a Maia loss. So please continue to do so.
Yeah, listen, if I have the power to make Damian Maia lose just by calling him the most dangerous man, listen, place your bets, y'all. All right.
I'll defend Damian Maia. I'll say it like this: if the man gets his hands on you, it's over. Okay,
you're done,
you're done, hemmed up, and you got your leg behind your shoulders, and he's got it wrapped around your neck. He's gonna put you in a pretzel move, and he's gonna make it look really easy. Because I don't care who you bring in that ring. Okay, if it's not Hickson Gracie, if it's not Hoist Gracie, you are going to face a guy that has a 3-dimensional chess level jiu-jitsu versus anybody else who
The only problem with that is that if your name is Colby Covington, then it's a beat down for 3 rounds.
Yep.
Right?
Boo.
There it is. So, in the co-main event of the evening, Jose Aldo defeated Renato Moicano via TKO in round 2. Y'all, the king is back.
Dude, Jose looked absolutely fabulous out there.
Yeah, he looked hungry again. That's a good thing.
Well, I mean, his defeat of Jeremy Stevens in his previous fight with that body shot was like, oh, okay, well that maybe Jose Aldo is back, but Renato Moicano is no slouch. He's a tall, lanky guy for the featherweight division. He's got long reach, knows how to put combos together.
He's 5'11". It's nuts.
Yeah, he's crazy tall for the division, and Jose Aldo went to work on him. He didn't know what to do with Jose Aldo.
Dude, Jose's countering was he has not lost a step. The dude is still incredibly fast.
The only thing that I noticed, though, was the fact that he didn't throw as many leg kicks as he used to. Is there something I'm missing there? I mean, because I remember Jose Aldo throwing an innumerous amount of leg kicks to a person's body. Okay,
I'm pretty sure it was probably just a game plan switch, right? So if he does the same thing every fight, then it becomes the other fighter's job to just game plan against that. So his ability to move away from this tried and true method is, dude, with 3 fights left in him, he's still growing and changing. That makes him even more dangerous.
I think it has something to do with the fact that there's a relative height that you have to be in order to make leg kicks effective. Otherwise, what happens is, because of the height and reach of Moicano, what could happen is when Jose Aldo's throwing those leg kicks, he's got to contend with that straight right that's coming down the pipe. So, when you look at the people that he's leg kicked, it's people who are generally about his size. So someone like Uriah Faber, someone like Chad Mendez, those guys, they're about his size. So he can leg kick those guys. You can't leg kick taller people, I guess. This is where we need George G Money Stallworth.
Facts. We need him back. We miss you, George.
All right. In the main event, Marlon Moraes defeated Raphael Assuncao via submission in round 1. This was more of a knockdown, and then he went and took his neck. But I was telling John that this reminded me of the Nogueira brothers, because the Nogueira brothers, what they'll do is they'll rock you with exceptional striking, and then they'll finish you with a submission, so that all their victories look like they're by submission, but they're all set up by striking. And this was one of those cases where Assuncao, took some big shots, and then next thing you know, he's tapping out.
And I was telling Ryan that this goes back even further for me to Rickson Gracie. And for those who don't know who Rickson Gracie is, he is the alpha dog of the Gracie family. Before Royce, there was Rickson. Rickson, out of all the Gracie brothers, he's the most feared. And he's actually the guy that pretty much was one of the reasons why we have MMA today. He's one of the reasons why the Pride came into existence with the 1995 Valley Tudo tournament. Anyway, what he would do, he would beat these guys to hamburger meat, and then he would throw a submission on it. That's why it always said that every victory he ever had was a submission. No, it was a beat down, and then he just grabbed their arm, and they were just unconscious, so that automatically just gave him the win after that. So.
Yeah, and it's always good for us to help those people who are new to the sport and our casual listeners to be able to hear a little bit of the history of like what is the foundation to get us to where we were. Rickson Gracie is definitely part of that rich legacy of the UFC. Let's go on to the next segment, and that is Finding the Angles. Finding the Angles. This is Finding the Angles. This is where we look at the headlines that are making waves in the UFC. We got to go back a couple of weeks because we really didn't get a chance to give it a full attention, and that is Bellator 214. That is the heavyweight Grand Prix champion and new Bellator heavyweight champion Ryan Bader. He shocked the world with a 35-second finish of Fedor Emelianenko, and now everyone's talking about he needs to fight some of those top contenders from the UFC. People all want to see what he can do with the best the UFC has to offer, starting with Daniel Cormier, perhaps even going and facing John Jones. Thoughts on that?
No, he doesn't. He's already tried it. He tried it originally, and he got knocked out. Well, his last fight was in the UFC was him getting knocked out by Lyoto Machida. No. Okay, people need to understand. He's been here. He started in the UFC. He couldn't hack it, so he went to someplace else, which is like what most any other fighter that's been released from the UFC. He goes to another fight promotion and he dominates them, and that's because the UFC is the true proving ground of mixed martial arts. If you want to know how good you really are, you come to the UFC. Okay, Bader's been here. He proved that he wasn't ready to be in the big leagues. They put him in the Bellator. He's now the heavyweight champion.
KC.
Yeah, I'm kind of with John on this one. But the problem is, I really don't see it as beneficial at all. Just in the sense that, all right, so why not just stick with what you're good at? Like, you've had your run at UFC. That time has passed. And the reality is, these wishful thinkings that we have, like the UFC is really bad at bringing people back and forth up until very recently. So Bader coming back to the UFC is highly unlikely. It's just like this is all wishful thinking that we're wasting our time with.
Yeah, but I think that it goes to show that as soon as Ryan Bader wins the heavyweight championship of Bellator, the first thing he does is look over at the UFC, because what does that tell you? It tells you that there's an acknowledgement that Ryan Bader has that even though he's won and holds 2 belts in Bellator, he knows that it really doesn't mean anything because no one gives him any credence. I mean, there's a lot of people who say that he's improved dramatically, and I'll be one of those people to say that I would be interested to see how well he would do against someone like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think that he is at the level of a Daniel Cormier, a John Jones. I think that he would struggle with Stipe Miocic and even Junior Dos Santos. So, from a heavyweight perspective, I think he's undersized. As we go to the light heavyweight, maybe he could beat Volkan Ozdemir. Maybe. But that's not going to get you a championship belt in the UFC. So,
right.
I stand on the statement, and I don't mean it as a disrespectful statement, but Ryan Bader is Bellator good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to the next story. ESPN Plus debut. We've been raving already in the show about how good it is. I want to talk a little bit about the app. I'm impressed by just the usefulness and the ease of use of the app. The picture is great. It's easy to find stuff. There's good content there. I got nothing bad to say.
Dude, this has been a game changer for me just because I had the UFC Fight Pass for a while, and I just felt like the UI was clunky. Its updates were terrible. And I'm not a huge sports guy in general other than MMA, but the way that ESPN has created a whole section within their mega site specifically for the MMA community, this is just so much cleaner than Fight Pass. I'm watching more and more. I'm even going back into the archives, which I never did on the UFC Fight Pass.
Wow.
John, you got to get on the train, man. Yeah, I know that you haven't downloaded the app and gotten into it yet.
I did download the app earlier today, and I haven't sat down yet and really gotten into it and see what I can find. I think I'll have to make this a journey. Okay, I'm just gonna have to, maybe do a couple of videos and show exactly how easy it is to do, because you guys can do it. I know I can definitely do it.
All right,
okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's the next ESPN Plus event. You'll just see how easy it is that you're out and about. You get your notification. Hey, there's a fight coming up. And you can either watch it right there on your phone or move it to your TV. It's ridiculously easy versus when I was on the Fight Pass, the login, I'd have to log in 4 or 5 times before it knew who I was. It was just a mess.
All right. Now, since I'm raving about ESPN Plus, there's one other thing that we got to circle back with, and that is we got to talk about this new UFC Legacy belt.
UFC Fight Kit.
UFC Fight Kit. Yeah, it's garbage.
Okay. So I'm gonna disagree with you here.
The belt is
because of ESPN Plus is why I'm gonna disagree with you. You know how I just said I'm finally going back and watching archive fights? It's a so much cleaner look right now in the UFC with these uniforms versus just a million different distractions going on in the ring with everyone's got their own sponsors. There's 17 sponsors in the octagon. It is a cleaner look. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
They got you. Oh my gosh. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, man. I can't deal with this. KC, I'm going to miss you.
I hate to admit it.
The belt, though, is ugly. I mean,
no,
it's ugly now, but I
ugly.
guarantee you give it a year and you're like, yeah, it fits the aesthetic.
You know what? The only reason why you say it's ugly is because you, like me, are a fan of old school wrestling. The old school UFC belts look like old professional wrestling belts. Okay, the old NWA belts. All right, that's the only reason why. I personally have no problem with the new UFC belt. Much like KC is saying, the uniforms grow on you. Okay, I mean, eventually they do grow on you.
That's not a fungus I want.
Even the WWE changed their belt or whatever the I don't know pro.
They're WWE now. They're WWE. They got the F out. Yeah, they got the F out. Yeah.
Yes, because they got sued by the World Wildlife Fund,
which is crazy because the World Wrestling Federation was there first before the World Wildlife Fund, and they still lost. That's the crazy part.
Trademark it.
Yeah,
they did trademark it. That's the crazy thing.
I don't know.
It was a website battle, and the WWF was like, you know what, keep it. Yeah.
This is why I didn't want to air the big debate about John Jones and picograms, because the digressions will have us talking about strawberry shortcake and rainbow bright from the 1980s.
Oh, hey man, the belt versus the bonnet, dude. We can do that. Okay, we can do that.
All right, John Jones got cleared to fight Anthony Smith. The Lionheart is on. That fight in UFC 235. See, that's why I spoke over that, because I didn't want you to have.
Too late.
John Jones is cleared to fight in Nevada, man. The question is, do we care about picograms or not?
I don't.
Well, all right. Man, okay, so it's like this. If Anthony Smith knows what he's getting into, then it's all right. I personally do not have any type of invested energy for this, because I'll be happy if Anthony Smith beats him. Good job. All right, you proved yourself to be a great one. Just because you went against a juiced out warrior and you beat him. Okay, if he doesn't, it is what it is. Put another asterisk by John Jones' name and keep it rolling. Because for the simple fact that until the UFC gives us a measure, it's free. It might as well be UFC 1 out there. They might as well juice them to the gills. All right, have them peeing like a Mountain Dew consistency, and let's just get this. Let's just keep it going. Heck, you're gonna keep this guy fighting, knowing that he could possibly be micropulsing. But
that's not true. That's scientifically not true.
Oh, okay.
The fact is that the doctor said that the amount that he had, the trace amount that's left in his system, is in no way enhancing his performance. It is
okay.
So it's not like we're fighting a guy, or that Anthony's fighting a guy who's truly on steroids.
Okay, so when they first busted him with the picograms, how many picograms did they bust him with? Was it like 17 picograms? Okay, that was before the fight. After the fight, USADA tested him. Okay, they said we didn't find anything. VADA tested him. Okay, with the same sample, same technique. They said nope. He was found with 33 picograms of same metabolite. What's going on? Okay, I thought it should be going down, not back up.
Bad math.
Big facts.
It's in the margin of error. So yeah.
The thing is that it's suspicious. It's just suspicious in the fact that whenever there's a fluctuation of picogram readings, and it's because it's not consistent, and because we're not seeing the type of decay that one would see with metabolism, then it brings up the question of why. Why is it still here? Why is it fluctuating? We don't know enough about these metabolites to definitively say that he isn't enjoying some type of benefit. It's small, but at the same time, it brings into question because we don't understand how this works. And the last thing I have to say about this is when it comes to doping technology has always been far beyond that of the ability to detect and defend against it. So the fact that we can detect something doesn't mean that there isn't some type of benefit going on. We just aren't evolved enough in our testing abilities to know what that benefit is.
And I'll go further to say, don't vilify a substance only to have it found in your best and your biggest draw, and then you're going to downplay it. Don't do that, okay? All right, if you hadn't have made it such a vile thing, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
There it is.
All right.
Let's move on. Speaking of Nevada, they finally ruled on UFC 229, the brawl to end it all at the T-Mobile Arena in Nevada. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. Khabib ended up getting 9 months suspension and a $500,000 fine. His counterpart, Conor, the notorious Conor McGregor, got 6 months suspension and a $50,000 fine. First question, only question. Do you think this is fair?
Number one, politics, man.
Hey, listen, I didn't say is this politics. Is it fair?
No, it's not fair. It is absolutely not fair. Okay, it's okay. All I gotta say is you gotta look at what Conor did all the way up to there, and if you saw everything that Conor did to this man, okay, to get him to that level, that for the fact that he just had enough and snapped, and they still hit him for his entire fight purse, that's not even cool on any level.
Listen, what Conor did was despicable, but it wasn't against the rules.
Oh,
what's against the rules? But it's legal. What's against the rules is jumping over the cage, attacking someone in the audience, and having your guys jump in the cage. Like we have to look at the fact that when it comes to what the rules are, Conor didn't break the rules by trash talking Khabib. It's despicable. I'm not defending what he did. All I'm saying is that what Khabib did justifies the punishment. What Conor did justifies punishment, but not to the level of what Khabib did.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you, Ryan, just for the simple fact that it's easy to say that if you just leave it to that one instance. But we do remember that Conor threw a dolly into a bus trying to provoke this man. Okay,
and jumped into another octagon before that. It was not a UFC octagon.
But those
jumped into it.
Okay. But we can address those. Him jumping into an octagon was at a fight that wasn't sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The commission that actually sanctioned it was not something that had authority over Conor McGregor. Now, if you want to say that the UFC should have done something, peace on that. I agree with you. If you want to talk about what happened in Brooklyn, well, we could talk about that too. Conor McGregor went to jail. Conor McGregor has fines to pay, and he's still fighting civil lawsuits with Michael Chiesa and probably Ray Borg, and money's going to come out of his pocket there. So you can't look at that and go, oh, well, he didn't get punished for that because he's still paying out for that. So, what all I'm seeing is that when we come down to when you're in Nevada and you're in competition in the ring and you jump out of that ring and you attack someone in the crowd, let's say that Conor, if Conor hadn't said anything, let's say that all that hadn't. Oh, sorry. I'll bleep that out. I'll bleep it out. But let's say that Conor didn't do that stuff. If Khabib jumped out of the ring and attacked someone, then we would have been like, oh, well, you can't do that. That's not right. He should get fined or suspended, blah, blah, blah. So if the act of jumping out of the ring and attacking someone is wrong, it's wrong across the board. It's always wrong. There's no justification to say that, oh, well, in this case, because Conor talked smack about him and called him names. You're
creating a scenario that can't possibly exist in the real world. Like Conor, to have Khabib just randomly jump out for no reason, that doesn't exist. Well, no, he's provoked and he responded.
No, but the point that I'm making is that if we are saying that Khabib was justified in attacking Dylan Dennis, and doing all the stuff that he did because of what Conor said in the lead up to the fight and the incident in Brooklyn. But the fact is that jumping out of the ring for any reason and attacking someone outside of the ring is against the rules. It's in the bylaws, and you are subject to the sanctions of the governing body. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you did it.
Because the state, Nevada State Athletic Commission has also said that they believe that there should be a fine for the way that the fighters talk to each other. Dana White finds this laughable, and I'm sure many of our listeners do too. But we cannot say that this happens without that level of trash talk. There should be things that are off limits. And so to create this image like, oh, no, the two things aren't equal, well, one can't happen without the other, and the instigator should get the bigger fine.
No.
Like, I'm sorry that you couldn't finish the fight that you started. You got beat down in the ring. Your team got beat down. You pay up. You caused this.
Exactly.
That's not the way it works.
And in the court of law, what we are trying to do is to set up the whole narrative of what happened. This is your scenario of let's say if Khabib jumped out the ring and attacked a fan randomly. Okay, you're right. He is absolutely
wrong. It's egregious. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if what he did, like I said, I'm not saying that the man was completely right. He wasn't right, but we understand because Conor had sat there and did a lot of heinous things. Let's just put it out there. He did a lot of heinous things, and he built that scenario to the point that yes, he was going to pop off on him. He created that scenario. Should Khabib be punished? Yes, but he should have got the fines that Conor got. Okay, and Conor should have got the fines that Khabib got. Okay, that would have been fair, and we wouldn't be talking about this. But to sit there and I'm sorry, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they cannot sit there and try and penalize somebody for talking smack. That's not their job. Okay, what they should say is that hey, if you talk that smack and it goes sideways, do not expect us to back you up 100% saying, oh, well, I was just talking smack. No, you could have created that scenario. You will get penalized hard for it. Y'all will both be penalized. But trust me, if we will look at the scenario in its entirety, and we will find out who started this, and we will severely punish them.
Let me explain. You have to draw a clear line. What you guys are trying to do is you're trying to draw the line at the instigation. And let me be clear on my position on trash talk. I do agree that there are lines that you should not cross. And we've got tons of evidence of previous shows where I have outlined that at length with UKC. But you can't say that the line is you cannot say something that offends another fighter, and therefore you could be subject to, greater fines if that fighter chooses to snap and attack you for what you say. The line is much clearer when you say you cannot attack someone else, period. We were talking about zero tolerance. The line is you cannot attack, even if you are egged on to attack someone. If you bite, then it is on you. That's where the line is. It's a very clear line. That is easy to adjudicate, because then if it's, you're okay if someone provoked you, then how do we define provocation at that point? Then how do we define what is across the line and what is not? It is much easier for the Nevada State Athletic Commission to regulate what happens in the ring and punish behavior that happens outside of the ring, regardless of how and who instigated it.
No. I can't be on board with this. I think the UFC is culpable in this situation, and honestly, they should be the ones paying the fines, not McGregor or Khabib. I actually think that McGregor shouldn't have to pay a fine because he was instigated into this. He was being Dana White's lackey. Their whole goal is, hey, let's create a powder keg and hope that we can control it just enough so that we create this spectacle without blowing it up. Well, sorry, you mishandled the math on this one. You get to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I stand by what I say. If they need to look at the entire scenario. What's the line? You don't throw a weapon trying to get at somebody that ends up accidentally injuring other people to the point that they can't fight that night. That's the line.
Yeah, but
okay, talk the smack all you want to, and you know what? I think Khabib was okay with the smack talk, but when McGregor flew from his country to our country and did that. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie.
Let's be clear, because what I'm detecting here is revisionist history, as though the dolly through the window happened somehow after the trash talk. No, the dolly through the window happened after Khabib Nurmagomedov hemmed up against the wall Artem Lobov. Caught him slipping in the hallway.
Sitting there talking trash.
No. Well, listen. The trash talk happened after the UFC Brooklyn incident with the bus and the dolly. The trash talk happened.
Started before.
After
Artem started.
No.
Artem started the trash talk.
Artem Lobov and Conor McGregor are two different people. Then what you're saying is that Artem Lobov is who instigated everything, and so Conor is then logically paying for the transgressions of Artem Lobov, who started this whole thing. That does not compute. The fact is that the trash talk that ultimately resulted in what happened at UFC 229 was after the incident that you guys keep citing. Conor McGregor is paying for that in court. So there is a consequence for that, and Khabib did perfectly fine all throughout the build up to the fight after the thing went through the window. So it's not like he's holding on to this deep seated anger that was created by that, because he did fine.
False.
Whatever.
I object. Anybody that knows body language
can
definitely tell. Like I said. The situation between Artem Lobov and Khabib was actually already squashed, because he talked to him, they squashed it, and it was done. It was McGregor that injected himself into that situation. Okay? Once you inject yourself into that situation, you do take over that situation. That becomes your ownership. Okay? He did this. And all this time, send me location. If you look at that man's eye, I think I said it clearly, that man is going to try and kill him. Okay, if he tells him where he's at.
But guess what?
Okay?
If you try to kill him, you are the one who is responsible in every court of law. I'm sorry.
You should be.
John, I can trash talk you. I can come up, stand on your porch. I mean, not on your porch, because that would be on your property. I can stand on the sidewalk in front of your house and trash talk you. If you attack me, you're going to be the one who's going to catch the bulk of the responsibility.
Wrong.
This is fair.
I object.
But no, in real life,
I'm going to tell you why. Oh, go ahead, Casey, because I can tell you why.
Okay. If this scenario was me, I'm telling you, in real life, you're catching these hands and a case. Like,
it's assault
to my face. Yeah, it is assault, and you're going to take every bit of this.
Yes, and then then I could sue you for assault. I could have you arrested.
No, if you throw so you throw something at me and I come after you, and you think you think you're gonna get away?
You see, this is why I keep going back to the dolly going through the window. Yes, if Khabib had jumped out of the bus and attacked Conor McGregor, this would be a different story. But this is not what happened. These are not the events that led up to the fight and the brawl that happened at UFC 229. Therefore, you cannot associate the two.
Khabib still had a fight to finish.
You cannot associate the two. If he had deep-seated anger, then he got it out in the ring. That was what the fight is for. To go and then carry it after the fight, that becomes a new incident. And that is what he's being punished for. Because last time I checked, Dylan Denise did not throw a dolly through his window. Dylan Denise did not trash talk him and his religion and his people at several public press conferences. But Dylan Denise is the person that he jumped out of the cage and tried to beat up after the fight. Case closed, guys.
Actually, I think Dylan Dennis actually did do some trash talking on some social media before that fight.
After the fight.
So what you're saying now is that the trash talk that Dylan Dennis, sorry, I was calling him Denise, Dylan Dennis did on social media justified Khabib Nurmagomedov jumping out of the cage and attacking him. It doesn't.
I am. I'm gonna say
then it's done.
Okay?
Then it's done. Then
I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You're isolating the event. Okay, Ryan. You're isolating the event without looking at the rest of the factors that contributed to said event. There's a lot. You can't just chop it off right there and say, okay, we're just going to take in consideration this part right here and this part right here. We're not going to look at the entire situation that created the scenario. That you can argue that, but I guarantee there's a lawyer that's going to argue you.
That lawyer would lose in a case. He would lose in court because at the end of the day, Dylan Dennis didn't. Is as far as I'm concerned, that night, he's an innocent bystander. He has every right to yell at what he wants from the crowd. People in the crowd yell all kinds of stuff all the time.
Not if you're part of the team.
Whatever.
Thank you.
No, it's you cannot jump out of the ring and attack someone in the crowd. 100%. Bottom line.
He was not just somebody in the crowd.
It doesn't matter.
He was Conor McGregor's trainer, though.
It doesn't matter.
I'm okay with it.
It doesn't matter.
This is guilt by association. Okay, he was part of the team. All right,
I get both sides here, and honestly, I land probably more on the John side. My whole thing with this is why it wasn't fair is you've got the richest man in MMA getting a $50K fine, which is nothing, and then a guy who's on his come up getting a quarter
whole purse
taken away.
Well,
come on,
this
roughly is egregious.
Or it's a half at least. I think he made $2 million. So he had 500 taken, and then he had another 500 taken.
Yeah. So this is problematic to me. Just in the scale, it's disproportionate. So yes, is Khabib culpable? Yes. Should he have lost that much money comparatively? There's no chance. I don't see how you make an argument for that.
You do, because I just did. All right, let's go on. Speaking of trash talk, UFC 235 press conference. I gotta say, Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley stole the show. Like John Jones was just sitting there, like, oh my gosh, I'm not the biggest star here anymore. I'm sitting here watching the exchange go back between. I mean, it was like a 6-minute exchange between Tyron Woodley and Marty.
I'm over this whole thing.
Really?
I just wish they would just go those three. I mean, if they could put Usman, Covington, and Woodley in the same cage, and just don't give it a 15-minute time limit, and just let them go. All right. I wish they would just go ahead and do that. And
why? Because you know what would happen.
They just double team.
Yeah, they just double team Colby Covington
for 15 minutes. I'm okay with that. Put some pride rules in there too. I mean, just to make it perfect. Good.
Yeah, soccer kicks. No, but I actually enjoyed it, and you had Ben Askren in the back egging him on, and it was funny because Kamaru Usman is now kind of being like he's the tough guy, and I like the fact that you can see his confidence, that he is not afraid of Tyron Woodley. He really does genuinely believe he can win that fight. But I thought it was funny that Ben Askren was like, why you come at me behind stage? Why you come at me backstage? Why you threatening me backstage, man? We're fighters. We do this fighting in the ring. You want to, and I just thought this exchange between three guys who have trained together, who know each other really well, the back and forth is for me, very entertaining.
Now, you said that, okay? Did you actually see the exchange of Kamaru Usman and Ben Askren in the back? There was actually video
I did not see what happened in the back. I only saw what happened at the press conference.
It was very interesting because what I saw was Ben was like, dude, really? You really acted like this? And Usman trying to come up on Ben, and he's like, dude, I know you, man. We were at the bar drinking the other night, Marty.
Yeah.
And, they kind of like the security got in the way. Dana was sitting there getting in the way. But see, this is how I know that it was fake, because everybody was smiling in the entire situation. Even Dana White was smiling, because usually if it's real, Dana White doesn't smile. He'll be like, no, y'all get out the way, okay? But he was kind of laughing pretty hard about it, okay? So I think it was just it's like Ben said, it was just a show, okay?
I don't know why we spend so much time creating these false narratives. Like,
because
that's the thing. It's like
pays the bills, dude.
But that's the thing. It's like, when are we as fight fans going to get smart enough to realize none of this is real? Like, I don't need a soap opera to enjoy a fight. Like, I don't need you to pretend to hate the guy, and then immediately afterwards, you guys are doing promos together. You're both in Van Heusen t-shirt, Van Heusen dress shirt commercials. Like,
okay,
why are we doing this?
because we let guys like Kobe Covington and Conor McGregor, and hell, the Diaz boys are actually like about that life. But when you let those two, when you let the Covingtons and the McGregors, and you let them out, and even the John Jones with that, I'm Christian, I'm such a good guy, but I ran back to a wreck that I caused to grab my weed pipe type guys do that, people gravitate to that drama. All right, we like drama. Let's put it out there. Everybody likes drama. I don't care what you say. You can say I live a drama-free life. That is crap, because everybody loves riots. Okay?
So we can like riots and drama and all that stuff, but these UFC press conferences are the most contrived pieces of drivel ever.
Well, sometimes they are.
These guys are practicing these lines and delivering them like B-grade celebrities. It's atrocious watching these guys pretend to hate each other. Like, just fight.
Well, sometimes you gotta talk.
Don't.
Talking smack generates tickets, dude. That's just how it goes. All right. Conor McGregor would not be the same, would not be that good of a guy. Let's put it out there. He's not GSP. Okay. Conor McGregor is not GSP.
Yeah, but GSP doesn't talk trash because he does not speak English very well.
He doesn't have to. He was one of the greatest fighters.
No, he literally went on record as saying the reason why he doesn't talk trash is because his English is not good enough. He said that.
I think he said Joe Rogan at that. But it's the fact that his skills spoke for him, though. Okay, we don't. Michael Bisping, he didn't talk that much trash until much later,
dude. No,
but he was actually
what he did to Dan Henderson on The Ultimate Fighter. The reason why Dan Henderson dropped an extra elbow after he hit him with the H-bomb was for all the smack that Michael Bisping talked on that reality show.
Much later, but that's much later in his career, though. Compared to his early days, he was just a cocky little kid. Okay, but when he started talking that real extra smack, well, he got what he got. Okay, but we need fighters that can do it rather than talk about it. That's what we're lacking now.
Okay, name a fighter who's talking smack but can't back it up. Colby Covington. Yeah, last time I checked, Colby Covington is on like a 6-fight, 7-fight win streak. I mean, I'm not trying to defend Colby Covington, but at the same time, Colby Covington did defeat the most dangerous man at welterweight. Get the heck! Oh, he did beat Raphael Assuncao to death. He dang near killed Raphael Assuncao.
Okay, oh my God. Let's put it out there. All right, let's put it out there. For as good as he's on a 6-fight win streak, but his bobbing and weaving skills are supernatural at this point because he bobbed and weaved himself right out of a championship fight.
Sure, okay? Sure. Listen, like I don't like Colby Covington. I would definitely be in support of the Marty and T Wood 3-ring battle royal. I would be in support of that. But at the same time, is that these fighters are elite fighters. They are. I don't know of any that really can't back up the stuff that they talk. I mean, at the very least, maybe Conor.
Francis Ngannou. Okay,
Francis
let's put him
Ngannou
on there.
Talking smack. I don't know
trash,
what smack does Francis Ngannou talk.
I think he doesn't talk trash for the same reason GSP doesn't. And that's it's not to denigrate him or his position. Like I truly think it's a language barrier for him.
Yeah.
But if you look at like Anthony Lionheart Smith, the man doesn't hang out with celebrities. He doesn't hang out with UFC fighters. He doesn't talk trash.
He just goes in there and does it.
But I think you need all kinds of people, and that's what makes the UFC great, is the fact that if you like the trash talkers talk trash and they fight. You like the people who are more about honor and respect, you got those guys and they fight. So you've got every single bit of it. And the fact is that we saw this with Michael Bisping. You can talk a lot of trash, but if the other person's not talking back, there's not much for you to say.
I don't know. I like the Rose situation.
Rose is a beautiful one.
Rose is a great situation.
Because we got JJ. Because JJ is also another fighter that, unfortunately, she's not able to back it up all of a sudden. Well, okay?
She got caught in the first fight. The second fight went to decision. It's arguable that she beat Rose. I know that she didn't get it on the cards. So, I respect Rose Thug No Hair Namajunas for retaining her title. But the fact is that JJ was in it for the second fight. The first fight, she got rocked. But you can't say she can't back it up. She's still one of the greatest female fighters the UFC has ever seen.
What's her current win streak?
What's her current what's Anderson Silva's current win streak?
Hey, I never said that Anderson Silva talks smack. I'm just saying. No, you talked about Colby Covington's
because Joanna Jędrzejczyk's on a 3-fight losing streak. She's lost two. She lost 2 to Rose, and she lost 1 to Valentina Shevchenko. However, the thing is that she almost broke the record for the most number of title defenses. So
almost doesn't count.
Well,
almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades.
She's got more title defenses than Rose Namajunas.
Give Rose.
She's got something to chase.
Okay, with Rose is over a fear of walking outside. Okay, hey, I will put it out there. Okay, she may kick my ass. Okay, she may kick my ass if she sees me. I'm good with that. But guess what? You got to walk outside to kick my ass first.
All right.
And I've said, and I said it too many times. I know. Sorry, kids.
All right.
So yeah.
So I think this is fodder for another show, but I just speaking of,
I'll just say real quick that it's tough to watch that fight, Kamaru versus T Wood, because man, I kind of like both of them. I want both of them to win.
That's why we're watching that fight.
That's why we're watching that fight.
Like, I don't need the trash talk. I feel like both of these guys have worked hard to get to where they are, and it's going to be a good fight. And I think for all the people who hate T. Woodley and feel like he's slow and he doesn't put on a show, Kamaru presses the pace in a way where you are going to see a fight.
Well, that's those same people that hate Yoel Romero. I love Yoel Romero because he is slow, and then he'll explode all over you in a non. That just didn't sound right. Yeah,
yeah. There you go. That's why we should go to the next topic.
At the end of that one, yeah. Let's go to the next topic. Yeah,
yeah. Artem Lobov was released from the UFC this week at his request.
I don't think anyone's gonna miss this dude.
I mean, really? Did he really want to leave like that, man?
Listen, he had like 3 fights left, too. I mean, he had some fights remaining. The one thing that I want to say about Artem Lobov is that he is the original man in the arena. My hat goes off to Artem Lobov for being the guy who will take any fight, anywhere, anytime. You know, whether he is the underdog or the way underdog, he is still willing to get in that ring and fight. You know, we said that the ethos of this show is to respect the man in the arena, and with the departure of Artem Lobov, I give my respect to that man.
I do not.
I will. Okay, because that is true. That is one thing about Artem Lobov. He did talk the talk. Okay, or does he? Yeah, he did walk the walk. He said, "Look, I'll fight anybody. He'll fight the toughest, the strongest, at any time, anywhere." Okay, you can't be mad at a dude like that.
Oh, I 100% can, because he cheated us out of good fights because he took fights that other fighters should have been game for or at least had a shot at, and wasted our time knowing he was going to lose. He knew all those fights that he was in, he wasn't going to win. Why am I wasting my time watching this?
Because no one else was taking those fights.
He thought he was going to win.
He knew he wasn't going to win. Come on.
No one else was taking those fights. A lot of those were late fight replacements and stuff.
Exactly. Replace with anybody else who has a shot, not Artem. Artem had no shot in any fight.
If you don't believe in yourself in the fighting like that, trust me, he wouldn't have a 13-15. He would have a 0-28. Okay, that's what he
Bob Sapp.
You know, I'm sorry, you can't be a fighter and then
believe in yourself at practice, not when people are paying to see a fight.
You know, I'm sorry. I will give respect for Artem. He may not have had a chance, but he knew that he had a chance in there in his head. And I'm not disrespecting that one.
There you go.
Okay, I can't.
Agreed.
I did not like the dude. Okay, but I have to respect him for the fact that he was willing to. He's going in there knowing that
gotcha.
He didn't have a chance, but he went in there saying, "I'm going to beat this guy." I can't be mad at the guy.
That goes really well into the next conversation about protecting the fighter.
Yeah, so I got this from KC because he was you saw this fight first, and I was like, I got to check this out. So after UFC on ESPN Plus 2, there was a boxing match actually down the road from us in Frisco, Texas.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, just down the street there.
Just down the street. And so there was a early fight on the card. Teofimo Lopez was fighting Diego Magdaleno. And what they were telling you is that Lopez is an up and coming fighter. He hasn't gone past the 6th round in any of his fights. And so they got Magdaleno to go in there to kind of give him a full 10-round fight. And things got a little bit out of hand in the 6th round. Magdaleno comes back out in the 7th round and gets put out, lights out.
Like a light.
Right. So the question becomes, with the damage that he took in the 6th round, I mean, he got cut early, maybe like 3rd or 4th round, but then the damage he began to take in the 5th and 6th round, 6th round was the most damaging one. His face was all swollen. He wasn't going to win the fight. The question was, and the ring announcers were really in favor of his corner throwing in the towel and going ahead and ending this fight. But they let the fight, continue, and Magdaleno took some brain damage in the 7th.
Yeah, the problem from the jump on this is that the referee's number one job is to protect the fighters. Number one job as a referee is to protect the fighters. He failed at that job. My other part of this is like, for this warrior spirit of guys willing to take fights anytime, anywhere, and leave it all out there that you guys just praised Artem for. This is the result of a guy being so foolhardy that he cannot realize, I'm outmatched, I'm outclassed, it's time. There's a point at which a fighter has to take his own life his own responsibility for his life. And yes, your corner should throw it in. Yes, the ref should stop you. But man, there is no glory to be had in dying in the ring.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me, actually, KC. And the reason why, because like I told you I was going to go back and watch it, and I went back and watched this fight. And I have always been a person who has been hashtag protect the fighter. And in this case, I have to support you in because I am consistently hashtag protect the fighter. But I do see why they let him continue fighting. I see why they let him continue fighting. And the reason why is because as much damage as he took in the 6th round, he came back out in the 7th, started taking some damage, and bull rushed Lopez and was coming after him. I mean, he was talking smack. He was yelling at him, throwing these wild punches. He appeared from
I believe that's what we call punch drunk, but yes.
You can call it punch drunk, but he appeared to be still coherent, still trying to fight. The types of things that we've seen in the UFC where I have found that a fighter has been incapacitated, where his hands are down, where he's wobbling and can't stand, and they allow the fight to go. Those are the egregious type things that I am usually speaking out against. But this case, Magdaleno was chasing after Lopez until he caught that 1-2 to the dome, and it was lights out. So I'm always protect the fighter. I agree with you. Somebody should have protected Magdaleno from taking that additional unnecessary damage because there's no way he was going to win that fight. He wasn't even touching Lopez. But based upon his performance and his actions, you can go back and watch it, John, once you get connected to ESPN Plus. You can go back and watch that fight. I say that Magdaleno appeared to still be in that fight until he wasn't.
So the point is, from your perspective, as long as the fighter has a reasonable chance at surviving the beating, then continue on.
No, see, I didn't say that. Like I said, I'm rooted in the protect the fighter perspective. However, I can see why the referee did not stop the fight sooner, because it appeared as though Magdaleno was still actively trying to pursue the fight. And so I'm always protect the fighter. If they'd have stopped the fight early, I would not have had a single grievance because Magdaleno was beaten and he wasn't going to win the fight. But it still looked like he was still fighting. Go back and rewatch it. I mean, John, I'd love to have you watch it and then report back to us.
But what you're saying is fighting with no chance, and that's the problem that I have in this. If you're fighting with no chance and just continuing to get beat, then at the next big exchange, the ref's job is to just say, nope, you're done.
No, well, the thing is that that's not the ethos of the sport. I mean, you talked about, what this sport at its purest level is that I've seen lots of times where a fighter appears to have been beaten. There was Jamie Varner. I think it was Jamie Varner was getting beat up by somebody, and he lands this punch. I mean, Czech Congo, we talked about it like 2 weeks ago. Czech Congo that fight should have been stopped, but because it wasn't, Czech Congo eventually emerged as the victor. So you can't just prematurely stop a fight just because it's not going a fighter's way. But if a fighter is on the ropes and he's just taking big shots and damage and his hands are by his sides and he's not able to defend himself, yes, you have to stop that fight. But if a fighter's losing on the cards and he's all beaten up and bloody, but he's still coming after his opponent, you can't just say, you're not going to win this fight. I'm going to save you the heartache of feeling the agony of defeat. Then, I don't think that that's fair to the fighter, because the spirit of the sport is that you don't stop until the bell rings.
Don't stop till you get enough. Keep on.
All right. We only got a few minutes left. Let's go to the fight card. Fight card. This is the fight card. This is where we look at the fights that are coming up this weekend. And it's coming to us from Melbourne, Australia, UFC 234, Whitaker versus Gastelum, February 10th, because it's in Australia, February 9th for the rest of us, 2019 from the Rod Laver Arena. Now, we've got 5 fights on the card. Jim Crute versus Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey, we are a fan of Sam Alvey on this show. Montana De La Rosa versus Nadia Kassim. You got Rani Yahya coming in from Brazil versus Ricky Simon. In the co-main event, Anderson, the Spider Silva versus Israel, the Stylebender Adesanya. And in the main event of the evening, Robert Whittaker, the middleweight champion, takes on Kelvin Gastelum for the middleweight title. Let's go with some flash fight picks. Everybody, Anderson Silva versus Israel Adesanya. I'm going to start with you, John. Who you got?
The most dangerous person that Anderson Silva can ever fight is a younger version of himself. And Israel is that younger version of himself. I got to take Israel Adesanya.
Contrarian, Mr. KC Onyebuchi.
Anderson the Spider Silva for the win.
Ooh.
I'm going with Israel Adesanya. I agree with you, John. It's the it's the young Spider versus the new Spider. It's sorry, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it's the old Spider versus the new Spider. It's the style bender versus the guy who probably should have retired 2-3 fights ago.
That's what they said about Damian Maia.
In the main event of the evening, Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. KC, your pick.
Ooh, I think it's strap season for Gastelum. He finds a way every time.
You think he's really got it?
Strap season, fam.
All right. John.
I think I'm going to go with Whittaker this time. I mean, he's going to have to beat the champion. Okay. I see Whittaker's power just landing it on him. I mean, I take Whittaker.
I'm going to tell you like this. Robert Whittaker is one of the most complete fighters in the UFC. Every time I think that he is overmatched, he finds a way to win. I think that his domination of Yoel Romero in their second fight was proof positive enough that I don't think Kelvin Gastelum is going to be able to take that belt from that man. It's going to take much more than what Kelvin is going to be able to bring. So I got Robert Whittaker, but I'd be pleasantly surprised if Gastelum walks out of there. Anything else before we go?
No, I think we're good.
All right, follow us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at CST Ryan, but I've been doing a lot of more posting on Instagram at Combat Sports Talk. I'm sure you're proud of that, KC.
Very, very much so. Congratulations. Welcome to not being an old man.
Hey, so you are
at Push Pull Pray.
So you didn't get
Instagram.
You didn't get my intro that you are a man who loves opposing forces and meditation, aka push, pull, pray.
Gosh, that is on the Riddler, on the Batman 66 side of the game, dude. That was pretty good. Way
to go, Riddler.
John,
yeah.
What's your Instagram handle?
I'm at Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with a E-S, K-E-Y-E-S, to Victory. I'm an old man because I'm still trying to get the hang of posting to Instagram.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You are.
Yeah. Don't. You just started doing it 2 days ago. I don't even want to hear it, man. Okay, goodness.
All right.
Check out the uncles fight.
check out the website at www.combatsportstalk.com. We're on every podcasting platform you can think of. So just find us out there. And we are on Spotify. We have merchandise on Amazon, but just go to our website, www.combatsportstalk.com, and check out the shirts. And, I talked to George Stallworth. He's not going to be with me for UFC 234. He is actually going to be at a martial arts seminar. He's going to be teaching a seminar in Austin. So those of you in Austin, go check out the seminar by the Double Champ.
When is this?
Huh?
When is this?
This weekend.
Sweet. I'll be there.
Okay. Well, I'll connect you to him. All right. And with that, let's get out of here. Our theme music is composed by Scott McCurry at scottdeancountry.com, and KC Onyebuchi produced our lead-ins. I want to thank you for joining us for another edition of Combat Sports Talk. For KC Onyebuchi and John Keys, I'm Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs.